Hello everyone, welcome to Thursday's video, and it's a day when we've got a fair amount to chat about. Brendan Rodgers, our manager, I don't know if you know, well, he's been spotted for the first time, I think it's fair to say, in pre-season. He's even been speaking to Celtic TV. We'll round up some of what he had to say, and according to a report, we are extremely close to our first signing. Let's just begin with the boss, though, because, the team returned to training, I think, a week ago today. It was last Thursday, wasn't it? And John Kennedy spoke to the media. I think it was last Thursday. He spoke to the media, Sky Sports interview, Celtic TV interview. And people were kind of questioning a little bit, where is Brendan Rodgers? It's hardly a scandal. More than half of the squad probably isn't even back in training yet, or certainly wasn't at that stage. But people were just wondering, why is John Kennedy doing the media? Where is Brendan Rodgers? Well, he is certainly at Lennoxtown now. He's been involved in training, and obviously we have our first pre-season match tomorrow night against Ayr United. As I said earlier, he's been speaking to Celtic TV today. Naturally, in these kind of in-house interviews, there was no curveballs thrown his way, no chat of Idah coming in or other transfer business. It's very kind of watered down and matter of fact. It's always going to be that way with in-house club media. He was, first of all, asked about the end of last season and kind of building into this campaign. And he spoke about savouring the winning feeling of last season. And he revealed that it was actually his idea for the players and staff to line up at Hampden and take in You'll Never Walk Alone after a Scottish Cup final victory over Rangers. And he said that maybe in the past these kind of big moments have passed him by. And I wonder if he was just talking about his first spell at the club, and maybe he kind of moved on from these things too quickly, and maybe in his second spell he wants to enjoy the really amazing moments more, which I think is a lesson to us all. I've actually just come off watching a chat with Andy Murray there, and obviously he's playing his final Wimbledon this year, and he said a quote at the end. He was giving advice to himself, like his younger self playing his first Wimbledon 20 odd years ago, and the quote was, "Try to enjoy it, it'll be over before you know it." And like, it kind of hit me quite hard because I absolutely love Andy Murray and all that stuff, but you can relate that to basically any kind of brilliant moment in your life, certainly for kind of athletes and sports related people. And I thought that was interesting, Brendan Rodgers speaking about savouring these moments, because without getting too deep, do we as fans actually savour the moments? We do on the day and probably into the night, and we really enjoy ourselves, but then probably, well, I can only talk for myself, but probably 3 or 4 days in after that cup final, I was already wanting Celtic to be back, and I was already wanting the new season to start. So do you actually ever get a chance to really savour it? I guess it maybe comes years and years down the line when you think back to amazing days. That's maybe when you actually savour it. As much as you do it at the time for a little bit, you're always looking to the next thing. Sorry, I've gone really deep there into different things. Basically, Brendan Rodgers said that he kind of wanted to savour the feeling of winning and take the adulation of the Celtic support. However, he did after that say that it's all about moving on now, and basically all of that is forgotten and we start afresh. And I think that's kind of the big credit you would give this Celtic squad and the likes of Callum McGregor and James Forrest and people like that, is that they've never seemed to get tired of winning. They win like 3 trophies virtually every season, or 2 maybe in a bad season, and then the next year they're raring to go again and do it all again. And Liam Scales, who we'll come on to again, he spoke a bit about that in a press conference today, and again he was asked, you get a chance to savour it, and he said, I did it for a little bit of time, but then very quickly I was just back into looking forward to getting back into pre-season training. So yeah, it's a funny one, but I think the mood at Celtic Park is very good. There's a quote from Brendan Rodgers actually. "It feels a much different place from 12 months ago coming back. Now, I thought that was pretty interesting, pretty revealing, and I totally get what he means. I don't know if you do as well, but a year ago there was just this kind of huge cloud over everything, and yeah, we were excited about Rodgers coming back, but there was like the whole Ange stuff and also the whole kind of baggage with Brendan Rodgers and the way he'd left the club the first time. I really feel like we're going into the new season with a clean slate. A lot happened last season, a lot of it not great and not easy for, you know, supporters and players and Brendan Rodgers to deal with. But I'm glad all of that stuff happened last season. We ended up still having a really good season, winning the double. And I just sensed this new campaign, we're going to kick on now. So I thought that was a really interesting quote from Brendan Rodgers. As I say, tomorrow we face Ayr United at Somerset Park. Rodgers revealed that he'd actually bumped into Ayr boss Scott Brown in Mallorca over the summer. And he'd actually invited him round to his place for a couple of hours to talk about football management and, of course, Celtic. So, yeah, it's going to be good tomorrow night seeing him and Scott Brown both on the touchline. Right, transfer-wise, and a pretty big Adam Idah report late last night, again from Scott Burns at the Daily Record. And I want to actually read out the first couple of paragraphs of this report because they seem pretty definitive. Let me know what you think. Right, it reads, Adam Idah is on the verge of a return to Celtic. The Hoops made their move for the $6 million rated striker on Wednesday. Talks between the two clubs are now at an advanced stage. There has been significant progress made by Celtic and a deal is close. Idah is expected to be given permission to travel north for talks, a medical and to put pen to paper. The Republic of Ireland star has made it clear to Norwich City that he wants to rejoin the Scottish champions this summer. So a fair amount of information there, all of it kind of very positive. Celtic have made a move, talks are at an advanced stage now, a deal is close, Idah is likely to be given permission to travel to Scotland for talks, a medical, sign the contract, etc. And he's made it clear to Norwich City that he sees his future away from there and at Celtic Park. So all very positive. That report came hours after one from Football Scotland that said that we'd had a $4 million plus add-ons bid rejected for Idah. STV also reported this. I think they'd been briefed by Norwich City and they reported this as having happened yesterday. So it's fair to say there's a bit of a disparity between kind of those reports and the one from the Daily Record. Who do we believe? Well, I do think that for a journalist like Scott Burns, who gets a lot of transfer scoops, to go so kind of definitively about Celtic, you know, he's saying that, you know, it's definitely going to happen. Basically, Adam Idah is on the verge of a return to Celtic, talks at an advanced stage. He's talking about medicals, and whenever you get to that stage, I think a deal is close. So I'm inclined to believe that. Obviously, we'll need to wait and see what happens over the coming days, but I think it's definitely positive news if Adam Idah is going to come in again. I'd say the vast majority of you watching this would be for Adam Idah coming in. I know from doing my stuff for the Celtic way earlier today that there are still some dissenting voices, people who think that we should be going for a higher calibre of player, and everyone is entitled to their opinion. You know, there's not a right or a wrong thing there. Personally, I would just kind of ponder what Adam Idah would have had to do over his 5-month loan spell to convince you know, these people that he is the right guy, because I just think you know, the way he performed when he came into the club, the attitude and the kind of personality he showed in the real tough moments of last season, Motherwell away, Hibs away, when the team were really you know, on their knees, he was the one who stood up, and I really like that about him. 23 years old, there's huge potential in him as well. I wouldn't write him off from being able to achieve things in the Champions League for us. I genuinely think there's real potential in him, and as I keep saying, he's met every target so far at Celtic and exceeded kind of every challenge that he's been that's been put in front of him. So I really wouldn't write him off from surprising everyone again, even at the top level. I think the main thing is Brendan Rodgers really likes him and wants him to come in, and that should really be enough. Maybe there's an element of him having been third choice striker at Norwich that's still on people's minds. Forget about that. We don't care about that. It's what he's done so far for Celtic in that 5-month loan spell, and I thought that was a huge contribution he made, and arguably scored goals that won us both the league and the Scottish Cup. So I think it'd be great news if we can get him in. Really hope this is a goer. I think he's going to sign. I just don't really want it to drag on all summer. I want us to get him in as soon as possible, because I think it would just give everyone a massive boost as well. Other transfer news: Melbourne City have announced the return of Marco Tilio for the 2024-25 A-League men's season. I think it's pretty clear that Tilio doesn't have much of a future under Brendan Rodgers at Celtic. I think he's played something like 28 minutes over a couple of appearances last season. It looks like a pretty bad signing. There's no real way to sugarcoat that. I'm looking forward to seeing him a bit next season. I've kind of mentioned before that I work for Melbourne City, one of my many other jobs, doing their social media for all home matches that they play. So I'm looking forward to seeing him a bit more next season. And obviously, if he does anything notable, I can relay it on to you. But I don't think he's going to make it at Celtic. But I think it's good that he's out and playing. And you never know, if he has some incredible season, maybe he could give Brendan Rodgers second thoughts. As I say, Liam Scales was in front of the media today. He was obviously asked a fair bit about Adam Idah, and he said pretty openly that the players would love to see Idah back. He didn't hold back from saying that, but he also added that it's obviously the club that are dealing with that and not Liam Scales. However, who knows who is actually in charge of our recruitment? It could be Liam Scales for all we know. He spoke about the different attributes that Idah could bring to Celtic, or does bring to Celtic, or did bring to Celtic. Third time lucky, Hamish. The physicality that Kyogo doesn't. And I thought that was interesting as well. He spoke about from a defender's point of view, when you're moving forward with the ball, having that option of a player coming towards you rather than away from you can be quite a good thing. So I thought that was good. And he also spoke about the Champions League and potentially said that the new format may work in Celtic's favour. Time will tell if that's the case. I actually happen to think that Celtic might get a couple of wins next season in the Champions League, just with us playing a couple of pot 4 teams. I think at Celtic Park you fancy your chances in that one game, and then obviously pot 3 team will come to Celtic Park as well. As I say, time will tell with that format. I just have a wee feeling Celtic might surprise a few people in the Champions League this season. So yeah, that was Liam Scales, and that's what we've got on at the moment. Also hearing murmurs of Peter Vindal Jensen being Celtic bound. He's the Danish goalkeeper currently playing for Sparta Prague. So again, just one to kind of keep an eye out for. Maybe we'll get a report into that soon. It certainly seems like that's the guy Celtic want to replace Joe Hart. Let's hope we can get him in. If we get him in, Idah in. Very quiet about Paulo Bernardo recently. I still believe that's someone Celtic want to sign. If we get those 3 players in, then it's only really a left back, a centre back, couple of wingers, midfielder if O'Reilly leaves, probably another forward as well, another goalkeeper, maybe another centre-back as well actually. Yesterday we got the sad news of the passing of Rosemary Burns, the wife of Celtic legend Tommy Burns. She passed away at the age of 69. So yeah, really sad news, and may she rest in peace, and our thoughts are passed on to the Burns family at this time. Celtic are back tomorrow. Our first pre-season match is about 5 minutes down the road from where I'm recording at the moment. Somerset Park against Ayr United, and I'm actually going. It will be my first Celtic game since Flag Day against Ross County last season, and it will be my only Celtic game all season. So it's not the biggest one, but I'm kind of looking forward to just seeing the team in action. And I hope you'll forgive me I kind of want to enjoy myself, maybe drink a few beers. So I'm not going to do a video tomorrow. The timings wouldn't really work out anyway. No promises, but I'll try and do one over the weekend, probably on Sunday. Things are very hectic at the moment. I'm flying back to Melbourne on Monday. So from Wednesday morning, Wednesday 7 a.m, we'll be back into the daily 7 a.m videos. And I think we're all kind of looking forward to that. I appreciate all of you just for sticking with the channel. As I keep saying, it's been very hectic and kind of stop-start over the past couple of weeks while I've been home. Looking forward to getting back to Melbourne and back into a routine. And things will be picking up at that stage as well. If we get new signings, I'll be speaking to people, finding out about them. We'll get Stevie back on. I'm actually meeting Stevie on Saturday in real life for a beer. So it's not all good in my life. There are some tricky things to deal with. Right, enjoy yourself if you're going to the game tomorrow. Remember, it's on Celtic TV if you're not. And I'll chat to you soon, making no promises.